Alright, on my last trip we ended up killing our Kadian water filter. It lasted a couple years and we tortured it pretty good. When we were in Isle Royale we blew out the connection here and had to super glue it. That did hold really well. Lucky we were hiking with some people that did have a backup pump while we were waiting for the super glue to dry. On the most recent trip we did end up breaking the handle off, and we did everything we could to get this here with no luck. So we ended up just wrapping a rubber band around and just doing some really small strokes. It took a while to get water. So on the last day what we ended up doing is pulling the water filter out and then hanging it in our mattress air pump, which is just a dry sack with a nozzle on the end. And so we had this hanging on the inside, and if you watch that video we had a really slow flow and it really wasn't that efficient. Now Kadian does make a water filter system that uses this filter that is gravity fed, but what I found is those filters are made for PSI, and because there's no pressure, there's just the weight of the water, your flow rate is really slow. And so I decided I was going to use the parts and make a gravity fed water filter myself. And so the real common water filter that people get is the Sawyer Squeeze. And the great thing about the Sawyer Squeeze is the flow rate's really high, and then it also has a 100,000 gallon capacity. Now that is usually with tap water, so you're going to have to make sure you keep it clean, and when you're out in the field it might be something that you replace once a year depending on how much backpacking you do. Now this system overall cost roughly $40, and the Sawyer Squeeze on Amazon was roughly $22. I picked up the dry sacks that I used for the water reservoir for another $8. The miscellaneous connections I got from Menards was about $2, and then there's probably, I'd say, about $5 to $10 worth of tubing that you'd have to go out and purchase, but because I had a Kadian water filter that did malfunction, I have that left over, so it's going to work out quite well. Alright, so here's the Sawyer Squeeze. It does have a screw on at the one end, so if you are going to be using even a 20-ounce bottle, I believe that does screw on there. We have several different plastic flasks or 2-gallon jugs that we use when we're out in the field that will screw onto this, so if we need to we can do that and then use that as a squeeze option or a gravity fed option. But what I did is just adhered the rubber or the silicone hose to the end with a quick connect. This will make it easy if I have to clean it or to pack it up. Now what I did for the assembly is I took the larger of the bags that came in that 3-bag set, marked a small hole in the center, then took and I poked a real small hole. It's not necessary, but it helped me line up the center. Took and put a washer on the hose connection end, and this is from the plumbing section from the local hardware store. It is a 1/2 inch down to a 1/4 inch connection, and that worked out great for the silicone hose. Now depending on the hose you're going to want different sizes, so make sure you take a look at that. And then on the inside here I threw another rubber washer, which I don't know if this is really doing too much, but I put it there because it makes me feel better. Now on this here was a piece of equipment from the sprinkler system setup, and that's in the plumbing section as well. It is a cut to size, so I screwed that on nice and tight, cut it off. And so what I ended up doing is just folding the bag over and then screwing this on, and then took a steak knife and just cut down on the inside and remove that fabric. And so what you can see in there is a nice through hole. It seals up extremely well. So you got the fabric all the way down the sides of the thread, and then you have a rubber seal on the bottom. It's pretty strong. When I tested it there wasn't any leaks, so I'm very happy with it. And so what you can see here is just going to be a quick connection, which if you go out to try purchasing these, they're, I think a set is another $5-6. So that would be some added cost, but it isn't required. And then one other thing that I'm going to be doing to this to help bring it bring the life of the filter up is I have this Cadian pre-filter that came with the other one. I'm going to go ahead and like super glue, do a silicone bead, something around the end, just so I can get a little bit more pre-filter to the water before it goes into the Sawyer and helps clog that up. Because this is able to be removed, I'll be able to continue to flush it without any issues with the pre-filter.